Hi there, my name's Steve, and my son was diagnosed about 18 months ago now with Duchenne muscular dystrophy. It's a progressive muscle disorder whereby the muscles don't build; they waste away. They don't regenerate like the healthy muscles of an otherwise healthy person would. Um, I guess I'm just needing to get stuff off my chest, which is why I'm doing this. And hopefully along the way, someone can learn something. So I guess if you're prepared to sit and hear some middle-aged guy ramble about the medical problems that his son's facing, then this may well be a place for you. Yeah. Like I said, it was 18 months ago now. We always knew that he was sort of like a little bit behind when it came to things like um, running and jumping and climbing stairs and those sorts of activities. We also knew that there was some difficulties when it came to learning at school, and we never really put all of that stuff together. We didn't really understand exactly why. We just sort of were looking at each individual problem as it sort of rose, and um, there was no sort of connecting of the dots. And I remember about 18 months ago now, my wife we were sitting in the lounge room, and she was looking at something on the internet. She said, "Oh, I think he might have this Duchenne muscular dystrophy." And we sort of read through the checklist together and of symptoms, and we're like, "Yep, yep, yep, yep." And just as we went down the list, we could pick off every single one of those, and um, so we sort of freaked out and thought, "Well, there's no way known that could be us. How is this going to sort of how do we deal with this?" And we booked in for a doctor's appointment the very next day, and there was one available at our local GP. And basically, that was to ask them to write us a referral to get a blood test so that we could test the creatine kinase or CK levels, which is the first sort of step to diagnosing Duchenne. And I remember going down to the doctors, and we went in, and he did a bit of a cursory exam after I said, "Look, this is what we want. We want a blood test referral." And he did a bit of a cursory test, and he said, "Oh, I don't think he's got that. It doesn't look like something he would have." And I said to him very politely, "Look, just the same, I'd like the referral anyway, please. I'd rather rule it out completely than just take your word for it." And so he gave us the referral, and that was on a Sunday. And then on the Monday, we took the day off school and headed in there to get the blood test at the same place. And the lady that was doing the blood test, she tried, and she was like, "No, I can't get a vein." So we went to the Women's and Children's in Adelaide, and they were fantastic. Like, they got blood pretty much immediately, and he was happy, and it didn't hurt, and we all went away really pleased. And then, of course, we then had to spend a week sort of waiting to find out what was going on with the CK levels. And so we went back the following Sunday, and we got in there, and the doctor, he was looking a little bit sheepish, and he said, "Well, his vitamin D levels are a bit low. Pretty much everything was normal, and the CK levels are very high." And um, I remember asking, "Well, how high is high?" And he said, "Well, they're 10,372, I think it was." And after we'd sort of finished with him, I looked at the blood test results, and I found where they'd highlighted that CK was like extremely high, and evidently normal CK levels were like 0 to 190 of whatever unit of measurement it was, and his was obviously way over that. So that was a fairly early indicator that there could well be some DMD present. And then we went to had to do a genetic test then to sort of confirm it. Well, actually, the next day, I was sort of dumbfounded and at a loss of what to do, because no one tells you. And ironically, the Duchenne, not the Duchenne, but the Muscular Dystrophy Association of South Australia had shut down about I think 2019 due to a raffle that didn't work out the way they were hoping it would. And so we didn't really have anyone to call. And it wasn't until I actually finally got onto a lady at the Muscular Dystrophy Association of Australia, and she was able to say, "Hey, look, yeah, this is what you need to do." And she actually got the phone number for me that I needed to call at the hospital to sort of talk with the neurology department. And she was really, really helpful. In fact, she was actually fantastic. And so I was able to go and actually, I think they ended up contacting me. And the neurologist that we now see, I remember he said to me, "Oh, I thought they said 1,000 for the CK level, which isn't too bad. It's elevated, but not horrible." And then when he said, and I saw the facts from your doctor, and it was like 10,000, he suddenly fell over and knew that I had to get you in as soon as possible. So we went in to see him. He ordered a genetic screening. I asked him, I know that doctors can't really give you sort of, yes, we think they've got it or not, but I said to him, look, what's the outlook? And he said, look, I'm 95% certain we've got a DMD case here, based on sort of history of learning difficulties, the physical aspect of it, and the sort of like enlarged calves and things like that. And so he was quite adamant that this is what we were going to be dealing with. And so we went off and got the genetic testing done, and of course it came back as a deletion of exons on the dystrophin gene. So that was it. That was congratulations, you've now got DMD as part of your family. And look, don't get me wrong, Dominic's great. He's fantastic, happy, cheerful, loves life, lights up a room when he goes into it. But it's difficult. It's difficult. This isn't an easy thing, and so 18 months down the track, I thought it might be time to backpedal a little bit and maybe not relive the last 18 months, but impart some of what we now know and what we've learned over the last 18 months to an entire cross-section of the community that may have no idea that DMD or Duchenne muscular dystrophy is even out there. We'd never heard of it. I'd heard of muscular dystrophy, but DMD, I had no idea. And even medical people that you speak to, some of them go, "Oh, yeah, heard about that," but quite a few of them just like, "Don't know what you're talking about. Never heard of it before." I think I'm going to wrap this video up. I'm going to keep them sort of fairly short sound bites. But look, if this is something that you would like to learn more about, I'm going to hopefully be on here fairly regularly and just imparting what we've learned and how we're progressing with all of this as we go. So if you've managed to get to this point, about 8 minutes, I thank you very much for hanging around, and stay tuned for the next one.